Hey, what's happening? Ward Wrestling Live. Man, we're back. It's Tuesday. Uh, in my house, it's Taco Tuesday. Kids are ready tonight. But I got another absolute incredible wrestling mind, wrestler and coach in our country. It's Associate Head Coach of Cornell, Mike Gray. Uh, he wrestled at Cornell from '06 to 11, two-time NCAA All-American, two-time Iowa champion, EIWA. 2008 National Freshman of the Year. He was the first four-timer in New Jersey High School State Championship ever. There's only been four now, so three since then, but four in the history of New Jersey, which goes back to, 19 whatever. So pretty cool feat. And he's here with us today from Cornell, the Big Red. How are you, Coach? Coach Mike Gray, welcome.
I'm good. Good. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man, this is this is awesome. I just absolutely an honor to have you on. Appreciate you. I know these times have been tough, but what has what have you and your staff been doing at Cornell to kind of keep your guys prepared for when we are on the other side of this, or you might be on the other side in New York? I don't know, but
No, I mean, we've just been meeting with our guys and trying to give them training plans if they are in the States where they were able to train and get into a gym or things like that. But we've just been I guess encouraging our guys to continue to stay on track and keep working hard, doing what they can. And I think that's where a lot of programs are at. You know what I mean? We were lucky enough to myself and Gabe Dean, Kyle Dake, Vito Arujah were lucky enough to head out to that Flow Wrestling event on Saturday night. So that was pretty neat to kind of be back in the wrestling world. Doing a little quarantine action right now because of it, but no, it was fun. So yeah, but I guess back to the original question, we're just meeting with our guys, staying in touch with them, making sure they're staying on track, training, doing what they can. And I think that's pretty much where a lot of folks are at right now. Just doing what you can and trying to make the best of the situation.
Yeah, I think I started to hear where some rooms are opening to at least calisthenics and kind of.
Yeah. So I know New Jersey, they're open, obviously small numbers, I think it's like 10 people or so in the room, but they're open in Pennsylvania's been open. New York still isn't there yet with close contact sports like wrestling. So we're hoping here in a bit wrestling with the green light. And then the big thing for us right now is just getting our students back to campus. Our student athletes back to campus. So we are scheduled to begin instruction on September 2nd. So classes will begin on September 2nd. So right now it's just kind of a rush to get our guys, not even so much cleared medically to start practice, with Cornell, but just get them on campus and get them into school and get their classes going. That's kind of the big thing. So getting their COVID test. They're coming from states where they're coming from banned states, I should say, for New York, getting them their COVID test, and if they have to, doing their quarantine and stuff like that. And just getting them back into the school. Once school starts, then we can start focusing on, medical clearance and all that good stuff. So we're hoping to be back at it with team workouts. Obviously, I think the days, well, not the days of, but it'll be some time before we can get back to having, just a bunch of guys in the room. I'm thinking more groups of 10 or something along those lines, which is fine. It's just a little more work for the coaches, but that's what we get paid to do, go the extra mile for the guys. But yeah, so just kind of that, getting back to school, getting practices starting again, and just trying to figure out what the season's going to look like. That's kind of what we've been up to.
Yeah, I got to imagine that, that Ivy League academics is hard enough to keep up with, let alone adding wrestling into, right? So these athletes are really.
Yeah, no, it's challenging for sure. And, it's a bit more challenging this year trying to figure out, what the yellow tape's going to look like, kind of the hoops you had to jump through to get cleared. And, and we're all kind of in the learning process, honestly, the coaches, the student athletes, just trying to figure out, what it's going to look like. So
Yeah, and I've spoke to a couple of your Ivy League counterparts, and uh, they fully believe that the Ivy League athlete is the toughest athlete in the country, just mentally, because I mean, not only are you getting hit by high level wrestling, but you're getting hit by high level academics. So you really got to, you're really special to be a part of that kind of fraternity.
Yeah, no, for me, I just think about hours in the day. You know, I think about hours in the day, and our guys are, are super high level guys. I think, back to what you're saying, all the student athletes in the Ivy League are really special people, because to be able to, give so much time to your sport, and then also, give so much time to your academics, it's very challenging. And I think that the student athletes in the Ivy League are just committed to greatness all around. Greatness in their athletics, greatness in their academic endeavors. And I think that's why you go to an Ivy League school. You want to be surrounded by people that are chasing greatness. It's just that the non-athletes get to maybe do their homework when the 6-7 hours or whatever it might be that you're putting in for for your athletic endeavors, right? They're able to just do that for their academics. So definitely harder working, more work to do for the student athlete in these Ivy League schools, but they're better for it. And I think that's why a lot of parents and the athletes themselves, student athletes themselves, kind of embrace this challenge, because they know that if they can get through this and they can challenge their mind and their body, and they can make it all work, that it's going to be, it's going to pay them so many dividends down the road, not just with a great job or, whatever it might be, but just with life lessons that they can take, being able to push through tough situations, having wonderful time management skills, you know what I mean? Being able to really kind of know who you are as a person, because times got really tough. That's something that the athlete knows all about.
Yeah, and it's got to mean a lot to these guys to have like you and Gabe in the room, which are athletes that lived the Ivy League life. You went to school there. You experienced what they have to experience. So when you're saying, "Hey, dude, I got you. I know what you got to do," I'm sure it comes off as a little high respect and understanding.
Yeah, no. And I think the great thing about our staff at Cornell is we have three, myself, Gabe, and Kyle Dake, all Cornell graduates, right? And our head coach, Rob Cole, has been at Cornell for 31 years now. So we have we have a staff, right? So Rob didn't go to Cornell, but he went to UNC, which was also a great school. But he's been around it for so long. He understands what these kids are going through because he's been here for so long, So yeah, our staff, we understand what the kids are going through. So, I mean, we personally, other than like maybe right before Thanksgiving break, trying to get the kids home, we don't really do morning workouts. Our guys work out in the afternoon, and then they have individual workouts on their own whenever that fits into their schedule, right? So that makes more work for the coaching staff, but that's what we're, paid to do. And more importantly, that's what we love to do, make sure that our student athletes get everything they need. But yeah, it's definitely something for when the kids are like, I got a test coming up. I got 2 tests coming up. Can I reschedule this workout, or can we find a way to make this work? And other programs are like, no, this is the box, fit into it. Where we're more flexible, right? We're still going to get all of our work done. We're still going to, make sure that our student athletes are prepared and that are ready to go to war when the time comes. But we're just going to be smarter about it, honestly. And we're going to make sure that our kids can have all the, I guess the time, the time they need and all the preparation they need for their schooling as well. But yeah, we recognize we can look back and remember and put ourselves in their shoes, because we were in their shoes, and that really helps us really relate with our student athletes and have them really buy in to our I guess our coaching staff and our coaching philosophy, because we were there and we can relate with them for sure.
Yeah, it's got to be when you talk to an athlete, a lot of them will say we like having a coach who did it at some level, just so they understand kind of.
Yeah, I mean, we're all players coaches. You know what I mean? Like you talk about like football, like guys are in the NFL. They talk about how certain guys those are players coaches. I think that we're all players coaches. You know what I mean? We relate with them, and we make sure that we do everything we can to get these guys ready to go, and more importantly, to make sure that their overall health and well-being is at the forefront.
So being the first four-timer at the time in New Jersey, being a
Yeah.
high school state champion where they only have one, right?
Mhm.
I'm guessing that at that point you had everybody in the country knocking on your door, trying to get a hold of your parents, wanting you to come to their school.
Yeah.
Amazing schools in your backyard in the tri-state area. What made you decide Cornell? And obviously you found a home there. Not only did you wrestle, you've stayed there. So
Yeah.
it's obviously been a good fit. But what made you choose there out of? I'm sure you had a million possibilities.
Yeah. So I mean, the Cornell there's no. If you look at all the rankings, there's no way around it. It's the best combination of athletics and academics in the country. So if you want to pursue both and really pursue national championships and all American statuses and all those things, and team national titles, and also get a world-class education, Cornell is really the only place, right? And if you were to biasly compare the academics and the athletics, Cornell is the only choice, and that's what really stood out to me. I could get a world-class education, and I could also compete for national titles. And if I wanted to go on and try to be an Olympian and be an Olympic champion, world champion, I could do that as well. And the thing about that was at Cornell and these other programs, they want to be there, and then they think they have the right recipe to do it. We've done it, so our recipe works. We know it works, and that was the big thing that Rob explained to me. He's like, listen, these other programs are trying to make it work. We've done it before. Travis Lee graduated my senior year. He's a 2-time national champion, 4-time All-American, 3.7 engineering student, right? So you want to talk about being able to do everything you want and to achieve greatness academically and athletically. That guy did it. And then also he was, I think, 3rd on the Olympic ladder at the time too. So right there, that the proof is in the pudding. That's the guy that you want to aspire to be right there. Proof is in the pudding. And then, he's a coach on staff as well. So you'll get to wrestle with that guy every day. And it was just, it was a no-brainer, honestly. It was a no-brainer.
Yeah, that's cool. And
and also a wrestling facility, right? So at the time, it's a standalone wrestling facility. Nobody else in the country had anything like that. And it was just crazy. It was so cool to see a beautiful wrestling room, not stuck in the dungeon like all these other programs. Not stuck in the 60s with these old, dingy, sweaty, gross wrestling rooms. Freeman Center's got tons of windows, training room, student athlete area, beautiful locker room, massive wrestling room.
Yeah, and
the whole
view out your window there before you came on, so it doesn't suck to live there either, huh?
No, and it's a beautiful place. It was just so many great so many great factors that were pulling big time to get me here for sure.
Yeah, and talk about the alumni you run into. I remember having Gabe Dean on early on when I started these things, and
yeah,
really had no clue what I was asking. I was just winging it, really, but I got through it, and it was fun to meet him. But I remember him mentioning that one of the awesome things walking on this campus or doing anything is like you run into these like legendary alumni. I mean, tell some of those stories.
Yeah, I mean, so we're unique because, like I said, Rob's been here for 31 years, and he's he's kind of written the book for fundraising in college wrestling, right? Honestly, he's the best fundraiser. And the thing that we get, I guess that kind of gets misunderstood is that, us at Cornell, we get to raise our Cornell budget and then also our RTC budget. So a lot of these programs are, kind of getting praised because they're doing so well and the RTC budget, is doing so well, but it's just like, that's great, but your actual team budget, you don't have to raise. So, Rob raises, and staff, I guess you could say, raises the Cornell budget and the RTC budget. And he does a wonderful job of that. So, just putting out there first, he's kind of written the book on fundraising. And then once again, so you're doing all this fundraising. How do you do it? With wonderful alumni, right? So he's had these relationships for 31 years, right? So, and he does a great job of keeping up with these alum and sending out newsletters, staying in touch with them. We have a golf outing every year. So I think the biggest thing that we do very well that maybe other programs don't is keep our alumni engaged in the program, right? Make them, feel like they're there. They're, they're on the bench with us during the matches. You know what I mean? Like keep them super engaged. We do a wonderful job of that. And we try to get them back to campus as much as possible. And then, and get them to be invested. We do a phone-a-thon every year where our student athletes are calling the alumni. So we do a lot of different things to raise funds for our programs. But the biggest thing that we do is keep our alumni involved, right? And when they continue to feel this type of ownership that they did when they were on the team, if you can keep them, bought in and keep them, continue to have them have that ownership of the program, they're more than willing to, help you get a summer internship, help you get a job, put you in contact with the right people as soon as you give them a call. Like, hey, I got a great kid for you. Or I got this kid. Like, oh yeah, watch him wrestle. Love him. Wrestles hard. Looks like he super hard worker. Would love to have him work for me. And those are the types of things. So I guess the biggest thing is fostering relationships, like Rob does very well. And then, once you foster those relationships, giving them good guys too. And we have confidence that our student athletes are, the best in the country, and they're all great workers, and they're willing to do whatever it takes to succeed in whatever field that they move into. So it's really cool to see. And it's really cool to see that network continuing to grow. If you go to the NCAA tournament every year, our fans are not always we don't always have the most fans, but we have, I'd say, we have the most consistent fans. We always have a giant number of fans that are wearing the Cornell C. And it's really special when you're on the mat, you look up at that sea of C, as we say, right? The sea of the Cornell C's up there. And it just gives you pride, and you feel, I guess, a lot of pride to wear that C on your chest as well.
Awesome. And what are some of those big companies that these young kids are going to get to rub shoulders with by being a Cornell athlete? I mean,
honestly, like all the big ones in on the investment side, Deutsche Bank, JP Morgan, all those investment type firms that you think about, you know what I mean? And then, on the, I guess on the medical side, going to Cornell Med School, obviously we have a lot of guys that are doing that. Brown Med School, just a ton of Oklahoma Med School, right? So a lot of medical schools, and then so we have a lot of guys that are kind of taking the medical side, taking the business side, and then there's also a lot of startups. There's a lot of startups in Ithaca, personally, that a lot of our guys are kind of working for. So I think that big companies, but also startups that are interesting, and that our guys are finding that they kind of really enjoy, and they're going to look to succeed with.
But it's dope. These guys know that.
Yeah, I mean, so the one thing that we take a ton of pride in is every year. My little guys are going crazy. Yeah, no, it's all good. So every year when we have our senior banquet, right? Rob takes so much pride in this. So every one of our seniors has a job offer, has accepted a job, or is going back to grad school.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yes. And then also in the 31 years here, I think Rob's had, maybe like 4 guys not graduate or transfer or whatever. So our retention rate is super high as well. And that's something that we're really, really proud of.
I think that's one thing you had mentioned, where when you come down for South Beach, you go over to Palazzo's gym and work with him. One thing he's told me is everybody's goal should be to graduate a wrestler. He said you'd be surprised how low the retention rate is. So
yeah, no, for sure. And obviously, I mean, we're in an Ivy League school, so the kids that we get that are able to even get into school have great study skills, have great time management habits, work hard in wrestling, obviously. So we're getting guys that are, ready to go, you could say. But once you get hit in the face with the schoolwork and the training schedule, it causes you to question sometimes. It really does. But we just do a good job of letting our guys know that this is challenging, but it's going to be worth it. It's worth staying in the fight and finding a way to get through this.
I think he's frozen. I think you're frozen, Coach. Well, as soon as he unfreezes, we'll have him back. That's Mike Gray with Cornell Wrestling. He was just discussing, the kids and why they picked Cornell. And he should be back here shortly. We'll just kind of hang out and wait for him. There we go. Not a big deal. He froze up a little bit. He was just telling us about kids and, the amazing athletes they receive there, the retention rate, how awesome it is to be at Cornell, beautiful areas. Obviously, the opportunities with the amazing alum, just some really cool stuff. But I'm sure we'll get him back here in just a moment. He's connecting right now.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, not a big deal. It happens, right?
It happens that hold on, let me turn the video on here. All right, yeah. So my computer died on me, and my little guy has a charger. So we're switching to the iPhone.
That works.
All right, let's do this real quick. All right, perfect. Here we go.
Here he is. All right, he's back. All right, Coach Mike Gray.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No worries, little power outage there, but we got it back. And if you guys remember, just before we got off, he was just telling you how amazing it is to be at Cornell, be a wrestler there, be an athlete there, and then the opportunities that come with that. And I remember asking Yanni, why Cornell, and he said to me, your wrestling future is not guaranteed. You could get injured, something could happen. So I knew that I was going to a place where I'm going to get one hell of an education before anything else. So, so far he's been healthy, good for him. And he is a badass, but his mind, it was really cool talking to him because his mind was unbelievable. And then, you got that Florida kid coming up to you guys, JR, and they're really good friends. And that's cool, getting a hold of him. And then first of all, and I'll give you an opportunity to talk about recruiting a little bit, but what has the wrestling versus coaching? You were a high level wrestler, high level athlete. Seems like you transitioned right to coaching. You didn't really go off and try to battle the world. It seems like you were into coaching. So talk about that, the experience versus the observation, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, for sure. I personally, I mean, it's been 10 years now, right? So, but I feel like I prefer coaching. Just being able to help your guys to, be there for them, to, help them through challenging situations, or to help them build skills, to be there in the biggest moments for them. It's really rewarding. and that's something that I really value. So I personally enjoy the coaching side, but I will say that doing a little bit of both can help you, because I remember it was my senior year, I tore my ACL, so I was out for a while, but I was still taking on all the trips, so I was kind of like a player coach, I guess, at that point. And it helped my wrestling a lot, and it helped me in match preparation, and just trying to take yourself out of the situation before you go on the mat, right? To kind of be able to view big picture before you step on the mat, like it's not the end of the world, and and just kind of enjoy the situation and take everything in. And it worked out when I was a senior too, because it was my last go around for all this stuff. So really enjoy it, and not just let it be a burden, but enjoy the moments as they came. So yeah, but there's definitely different perspective when you're a coach. Different perspective for sure. When you're an athlete, you have the blinders on, right? You want to win so bad, and you're just focused on doing everything you can to have the best performance you can, right? Or to have the best results you can. And you're locked in. Whereas when you're a coach, you can have more perspective and take the blinders off, and kind of try to steer your athlete towards things that he's not doing that could probably make him better, but he doesn't see that because he's got the blinders on, right? So that's what's really important, and what I really value as a coach. You know what I mean?
That's awesome. Hey, so back in New Jersey, some of your mentors, coaches, what has Gonzo meant to you, Coach Gonzalez? He's the one that kind of referred me to you, and
PDG was he was big for my development. He coached me a bunch in high school. I just think he's just an inspiring guy. He gets the best out of you. He gets the best out of his athletes. He pushes you hard. You know what I mean? But there's a lot of belief coming from him. A whole lot of belief, and you can see that. He wears his heart on his sleeve, so it's really easy to go out there and fight and work your butt off for a guy like that. And that's kind of I kind of try to take some of that in my coaching as well. Be the guy that's going to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. Right. And that's huge. Right. That's huge. Not being your friend, being your coach. Obviously, you're not always going to be a hard ass. You know what I mean? But it's part of the flow of coaching. But when you need to hear something, you need to hear it. And I think that's something I do fairly well. That my guys would say that for sure. That obviously I'm there for them, and I'll do anything for them. But if they're not doing the right things, or they could do give me a little more, then I'm gonna let them know. So, but PDG was a big one. Ernie Monaco at the Edge was huge. Edge School Wrestling. Jeff Buxton was big. Guy Russo, my high school coach. Brian Stoll, Teddy O'Donnell. The one thing I know for sure is that I was lucky to have a lot of great mentors and wrestling coaches in my upbringing and in my career. I was lucky enough to be in some really good hands, even when I started wrestling, with Skip Webb and, some other people when I was really young, Chris Kafari, just a whole bunch of really good wrestling people, especially for my time, right? When I was younger, just having guys that made it fun, and, we're necessarily pushing me, but we're just keeping it fun, and then as I got older, guys that were really introduced me, into the skill side of it, and trying to become a technician, and not try to muscle things, and to, view it as a craft, and try to grow your craft, and try to, be an expert in your craft. That was a big thing for me as I got into my later high school years and my college years with, Ernie Monaco, Dave Esposito, Jeff Buxton, and obviously my college coaches, Corey Cooperman, stuff like that. But just kind of taking ownership of your wrestling, and understanding that if you want to be great, you need to, you need to kind of view it as an art form, so to speak, and really understand as many positions as possible, and try to master your craft. That was the thing that stuck out to me the most.
I mean, damn, what do those brackets look like in New Jersey in the state tournament? They got to be just deep and strong, and a lot of people.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think like my freshman year, like we had Caldwell in there, Darian Caldwell, Franklin Gomez, Jordan Burroughs. Like there's a lot of guys. Yeah, for sure. But no, I mean, I just had there's a lot of good guys in my era, that I battled with, and it was fun. Those guys we all kind of worked our butts off and put your best foot forward on the mat and kind of see, I guess let it be where it'll be. And I was lucky enough to come out on top. So
I thought, I was wondering, the prep schools are so prevalent in that area where you come from. I mean, most of them are.
Yeah.
I mean, you have the one out in Illinois. Lake Highland Prep is jumping in now. You have
preps,
around there, but mostly it's up there in that Northeast in your area. I know that they're not involved in the state tournament and JSAA, but did you guys have opportunities to duel against some of those?
No, so I used to train at Blair during the freestyle season, so I wrestled with all those guys anyway. And I
was wondering if
I was confident. I was confident I'd be able to beat those guys. Right, but no. I mean, I trained with those guys. They're all good friends of mine, honestly. A lot of my freestyle training from after the state tournament until after Fargo was done at Blair. I'd say most of it. So, and my hometown is only 30 minutes from Blair, so I'd take my little brother because Coach Buxton had an open room. He didn't really care. Anybody can come. If you're a little guy, just bring a partner. So my little brother would come with when he was about like 6th grade or so. And then, so we'd go up there and train. And I mean, I wrestled with most of them in club wrestling when we were kids. You know what I mean? They just went to Blair, and I went to,
trying to see each other anyway.
Yeah. So I mean, it wasn't. We trained together all the time anyway. So yeah. So, but no, I wrestled with those guys a ton, and but the big thing for me, like honestly, like obviously, I'm not trying to diminish winning state titles. That's obviously very important. But my measuring stick was Fargo, and I won it going into my freshman year, and I won it going into my senior year, so I was thrilled about that. But that was kind of my measuring stick. That was my dad's, my coach's measuring stick. It's like, winning a state title is awesome and it's wonderful. And, the goal is to be a 4-timer and you worked your butt off for that. But ultimately, if you want to be the man, you got to win Fargo. That's what it's all about. So, and in the years I didn't, that's why I guess people say, oh, you won 4. How do you stay humble or whatever? It's like, because I wasn't the best. Like I was the best in the state, which is, a lot of pride in that. I'm not diminishing in that, but I wanted to win Fargo and I didn't win it. I won 5 times. I won it twice. So,
what has, Pete Gonzalez is calling right now. What has 32 become? Has that become another tournament where people are like, hey, that's one you got to win as well?
Yeah. So it's weird though. Like, so I think that's, that's probably the toughest folks. I like that you have a really tough folk style tournament now. I think Fargo is still a wonderful tournament. I think it's still a really good tournament. But the thing about Fargo is that there's so many of the kids that have like the age group, like junior worlds and cadet worlds, right? So when I was coming up, there's no cadet worlds. So everybody went to Fargo. Everybody went.
Yeah, because I've never been there, but I hear about the 115-man brackets and the.
Yeah. So everybody, the who's who went to Fargo, and there were still junior worlds, but back then, like high school kids weren't. I don't know if we weren't as good or whatever it was. There wasn't many high school kids other than like Henry Cejudo that were making junior world teams, right? They were all college freshmen that were on the junior team.
Who's he?
Henry Cejudo. Yeah, who's that guy? Right. But yeah, so I remember one year, like I had Cejudo and Gomez in my pool in Fargo, so you got an Olympic champion, you got a world silver medalist, and then me, and I always, so I lost to those 2 guys.
I was gonna ask, was that the year you won it?
No, unfortunately it wasn't.
Yeah, I had Coach Simmons on from Simmons Academy of Wrestling out there.
Yeah.
And, he kept, I beat Cejudo in his last match.
Yeah, but Cejudo's got the Olympic gold, and that's all that matters.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it is, honestly. And it's
How cool would it be to see him? Let me ask you that, since you mentioned him, and then we'll talk about recruiting. But
yeah.
what he has eligibility. Could that guy like legitimately walk into college now and still be a beast?
Cejudo?
Yeah.
I don't think he has the eligibility because he's like 30.
Yeah.
But or he's older than that, honestly. Yeah, I mean, he's a great wrestler, sure. Yeah, I mean, he's an Olympic champion, right? But I do think that the sport has changed a lot, for sure. You know, the sport has changed a lot, and you know, he hasn't been doing as much wrestling. So, but if he trained for 6 months in wrestling, I'm sure he'd be right up there with the best of them. But I mean, we saw it with Caldwell, right? Caldwell was a national champion, right? Darren Caldwell was a national champion. He took 10 years off from wrestling and kind of moved into the fight game. And then he came back and he wrestled Luke Pledger, who was, had a national championship season, right? Without obviously had to do it at the national championships, but would have been the 1 seed or was the 1 seed going to the national tournament. And he got beat 9-2.
Yeah, Pletcher looks silly. I said Pletcher makes everyone look silly except for our Florida boy, Lugo.
Yeah. No,
Lugo worked.
Right.
Yeah.
He did. I will say Lugo's probably a little bigger than him, but still, yeah. He got the better of him for sure. So yeah, I mean, do I think Cejudo would be good? Yeah. Do I think he is? Obviously, Olympic gold medalist. So yeah, he's really good. But I do think wrestling's changed a bit, and I think that there would be a bit of a learning curve, honestly.
Yeah, and I'm sure that
especially in folk style with danger and all that stuff and the funk positions. It's a different animal than it was 10 years ago for sure.
Well,
and Henry didn't. The last time I wrestled folk style was probably senior year of high school, which was 06. So he was the same year as me, right? So freestyle one thing, folk style a little different.
Yeah, man, and let's be real. Everybody's getting up to wrestle him. I mean, you're going to get everybody, and they've got nothing to lose. They're just going like, okay, I'm just going to try and go all out, right?
For sure.
So, my last question before we get into my little 10-question thing there and have some fun. But
yeah,
what do you tell young recruits to do to prepare for college as you're talking to them, and then how does a kid get recruited by a school like Cornell?
So, I mean, the things we're telling the kid and how do you get, I guess, recruited by Cornell, pretty much the same thing, right? You got to be a great student, right? You have to have great character. You got to be a great person. Obviously, you have to be a very good wrestler as well. You just need to, you got to be the full package, honestly. You have to be on top of everything. You have to have great, study skills. You have to have great time management skills. You need to be wrestling in all the biggest tournaments. You don't necessarily have to be, I guess, winning all the best tournaments, but you got to be in the money. And then you have to be eager to, be at a place like Cornell. You have to be eager to kind of chase greatness every day, right? There's an opportunity every day to do something great, whether it be wrestling, academically, socially, whatever it might be. So we want great young men that are looking to do great things, honestly. And it's kind of a cliche, but if you're able to get into school, you must be a good student, obviously. So you probably have good study habits and have good time management skills. And also you're probably a pretty dang good wrestler. And when you have those combinations, you're usually a good person. You're usually somebody that we want to bring into our family, because we don't believe we know we have a family here at Cornell. And ultimately, I don't want my little boy to be around, people that aren't great, people that aren't gonna enrich his life, that aren't gonna make him, a better little man. So those are the type of people I want to bring around, right? We want to bring great people into our family, and people of high character, high moral value, and that's what we're looking for.
And we see him over your shoulder there.
Yeah, that's when he was really little. Yeah.
How old is he now?
He just turned 2 last Monday. So on the 20th, he turned 2.
So he's got a mean half already, right?
Yeah, he's getting there. He's got quite the personality on him. So my wife makes him Instagram famous. She posts videos and stories and all that good stuff. So it's good because she posts so much to make sure our family gets to see him, but also other people think he's adorable. So so it works out.
That's awesome, man. Hey, man, well said there on the recruiting, and I hope I'm getting better at these interviews with guys like yourself.
You are. Yeah, no, I mean, I haven't seen you're up there with everybody else I've done podcasts with, so you should be thrilled.
That's cool, man. I'm just trying to, I'm trying to think if I was a kid or a parent, what would I ask a coach about my kid,
Yeah.
And that's why I do that. And we talked about the importance of, obviously we're talking to an Ivy League coach, so we know academics is important there. But a lot of coaches I ask, hey, as a parent recruiting my kid, I would ask you, okay, you're going to focus him on wrestling, but how are you going to make sure my kid gets an education, right? And you guys spoke about that a lot. And I don't think kids going to a school like Princeton, Cornell, Penn, Howard, whatever it is, I think the least of your worries is, are they going to get a good education?
Yeah, no, I mean, that's the cool thing. And I think that there's a lot of things that we don't have to worry about, which is great. We don't have like study halls and things like that because our kids are, they're, for the most part, they're doing very well. They're, motivated, right? Intrinsically motivated to be great. Right. So, whether it be on the academic side, the wrestling side, like I got to tell kids they got to take a day off. You know what I mean? Our guys are they're really special in the fact that they want to be great, right? They want to use their eligibility to and milk it to the fullest and get everything out of it. And then they want to go on and pursue, their professional career with a fire in their belly too, right? Everything they do, they want to pursue it and chase down greatness and get everything they can out of it, which is wonderful.
And then come and give back.
Yeah, right. And then expect a phone call. Hey, you remember when you just graduated? I need you to hook me up. I need you to hook me up.
Yeah, I talked to a high school coach down here, Coach Prince, and he has 2 twins that ended up.
Yeah.
They were big time, and they went off to the military academy, the Naval Academy. And he said, "Man, I don't know how they did it because just like Ivy League at a military academy, there's no day off. It's like he says, I don't think my kid's got a weekend off till he was a senior. So it's pretty cool. It's probably pretty cool being a dad of those 2 boys. So
oh yeah.
So hey man, thanks. I really appreciate it. Cool. One thing I wish I can get Gabe Dean back on. So if you got any pull there, that'd be awesome. I can try.
Yeah.
Stuff I've learned now. Like I want to ask.
You want to give it another try? He was one of your first interviewees.
Yeah, like I've got NATO coming back on this week, and he was my first ever show, and I think I just was like awful, man. I was like, "What are you doing now? Why there's no wrestling? What are you gonna do next?" Like I was just like, he'll probably say, "Hey, man, you were great," because he's such an amazing human being, right? But but stuff I've read, like when when Downey called him out and said he wasn't going to win a state championship or a national championship against him or something, I was like, God, you must have been enthralled. Like I'm ready for him, right? Like, what did you think when it happened, right? It was fun seeing him training with Dake and those commercials and stuff.
No, he does a good job with Kyle and being his training partner and all that good stuff. So it's fun. It's really fun.
How cool was it too to see one of our NCAA wrestlers out there helping one of the MMA guys overseas, man? That was pretty cool to see.
Oh, with Bo?
Yeah.
No, sure. I mean, he wants to get in the fight game too, so I think I think before too long, whether it be now or after the trials in April, I think we'll see him transitioning over to fighting for sure.
Yeah, he doesn't suck either, right?
No, he doesn't. He's pretty good.
Man, you ready? Let's do it. Get you back to the world. Morristown or Ithaca?
At this point now, Ithaca.
Cool. during the off season, do you recommend clubs or camps?
I mean, it's different. I guess I would say clubs for the high level kids.
Okay. Pork rolls or sloppy joes?
Taylor ham.
Taylor ham. There we go.
Taylor ham, egg and cheese is all day.
Taylor ham. Nice.
I'm from North Jersey.
There we go. Would you tell a kid if they got one day to train, do you tell them to go to a live or to a clinic?
They have one day to train, go to a clinic, learn some stuff.
A fat sandwich or a cheesesteak?
A fat sandwich or a cheesesteak, you said?
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll go cheesesteak.
Hey, you can push. There's no rules to this game.
Yes.
All right. You've been on both these stages, the Jersey States or the NCAAs?
Oh, God. NCAAs for sure.
Awesome. Tomato pie or New York pizza?
Oh, that's a no-brainer. New York pizza, tomato pie.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Seems like it's big in your town, and I don't know, but
Yeah.
High school rules or college rules?
College all day.
Nice. Rippers or Italian dog?
Italian dog.
All right. Midlands or the scuffle?
Scuffle.
Scuffle. Nice. Yeah. Everybody says that the closest thing to the NCAAs is the scuffle. That's what I'm hearing. So
Yeah, I mean now, well, before it was, I think the last couple of years it was Vegas. Honestly, holy smokes! Like you had like 15 of the top 20 and like I think 7 weight classes or something crazy.
wow,
But when I was in when I first started coaching, the scuffle was still a great tournament. The Midlands is kind of like the Big Tens just during the season. You know what I mean?
Yeah. People seem to talk about it a lot. So I figured I'd grab it.
Yeah. Oh.
Coach Hennenbaugh, who I've had on with the NWCA, and he's like, "Hey, you're coming out this year. We have the scuffle. I'm sending you tickets. You got to come check it out." So
yeah, the scuffle's cool. It's fun. And Chattanooga's a great city. I really liked it the years we've been. We were in Florida the last 2 years, but before that we went to the scuffle, and we're actually going back this year. So if it goes off, we'll be at the scuffle.
Cool. Yeah, and it seems like you mentioned, it seems like that South Beach tournament has grown to be pretty big too. So
yeah, I don't know if we're gonna have it this year, but yeah, I mean it was growing. The high school event, the college stuff. I think it was just something cool to, most of the schools were snowed in and go to Florida for 3-4 days. Awesome. And then for us, like I said, we stayed there and trained so we got there on the 27th and we went home on the 4th, January 4th. So for us, it was great. We got to train. We took our guys to Universal Studios, went to the beach a couple of days in Fort Lauderdale. You couldn't do that.
At CFWA, right? With the guys that
Yeah. And we went up to Orlando and trained. Where coach was nice enough to let us borrow his club for a couple of days, and it was perfect.
Awesome. Hey, I hope we can keep in touch. I know I've got your number now.
For sure.
I'll just drive you crazy. No, I'm just kidding.
I got plenty of time. Have at it.
Yeah, man. Hey, well, thank you so much. And if any of your athletes would like to come on, please feel free to share my link with them or whatever.
For sure.
If any of your friends in wrestling want to come on, any young studs out there that are coming up that you think are maybe cool to talk to, I have them on. I've never turned away anyone, so anyone is welcome. And
Awesome.
I love doing it, and I've been having fun, and I hope it's making a difference.
Yeah, no, I think you're doing an awesome job, and it's great to just have a place where wrestling people can listen to wrestling talk and just listen to some stories and kind of get surrounded by their people again, even though there's not a ton of events and a lot of wrestling folks might not have been around wrestling folks for a long time, obviously with COVID. So I think it's good to give everybody a sense of community, and you're doing a great job with it. So I appreciate it.
Awesome, man. Thank you. You can go roll around with that little 2-year-old now, put him in a little
Yes.
field, give him a 5 or something. But
Yeah.
enjoy your day, man. Enjoy the beautiful weather up there in upstate New York, and have a great day.
All righty. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.